Hey everyone, Fallout here, and today we're going over my Destiny 2 Trials of the Nine guide. It's pretty easy to follow. I boiled everything down to 7 easy rules that pretty much every player who has never gone flawless before can understand, regardless of the map. If Destiny 2 gets altered drastically, I'll update the guide, but for now, let's go ahead and get on with it. Rule number 1, don't get picked. This seems very obvious on paper. Oh, you're saying not to die, Fallout? Oh, that's clutch advice. But it actually is though, because dying in D2 Trials hits you with a massive revive timer. Not to mention that the number of revives your team has in Trials is limited by your revive tokens, which you as a player can only use 1 of per round, and you lose automatically if you die. Getting knocked out sucks big time for your team. Even being 1 Guardian down is a huge team disadvantage. You're taking the fight from a 4v4 to a 3v4 or worse, and your team can get overwhelmed that much easier. I know it's really easy for me to sit here and just say, oh well, don't die bro, but there are ways for you to be better at not dying. For example, don't just stroll out into popular, highly watched lanes carefree. Peek lanes before pushing to avoid getting hit with the world's worst surprise party. If you're shooting an enemy across the map and more enemies show up out of nowhere to hardscope and shoot back at you, clearly outnumbering you, don't continue to pop out and challenge, especially if you're already weak. Your mathematical odds of outgunning multiple enemies all at once is extremely low. Either recover your health before popping out again, depending on how many people are hardscoping you, or rotate to try and find a new angle or new plan of attack with your team. Carelessly getting yourself killed in easy to avoid situations, in my opinion, is the #1 ruiner of all flawless dreams. Everything I've said so far in rule number 1 seems like pretty obvious advice, but you would be amazed by the number of people I kill routinely in Trials who challenge bad angles, challenge hard lanes while being outnumbered, don't wait for their health before re-challenging lanes, etc, etc, etc. Rule number 1, if you can help it, don't get picked. Okay, rule number 2, don't be alone. The time to kill in Destiny 2 is relatively long. That's why team-shotting enemies is so effective in PvP. Move together as a pack, concentrate fire on enemies, and destroy them quickly. So, while it's a good idea to be together-ish as a group, it's more often than not a bad idea to wander off completely alone. Now, before someone in the comment section tells me how horribly wrong I am, there are obvious exceptions to this rule. There are times when it's a good idea to have a teammate who knows what they're doing rotate around to try to go for a flank or a new position or something like that. It's usually okay if your wandering off is premeditated. But if at any point in a game of Trials you look up, realize you're on the complete opposite side of the map as your teammates, and it wasn't part of some plan where you were going to go for a flank, you have officially fucked up. Again, I'm not saying to never be away from your team. Flanks and angles help a ton when they're thought out. What I am talking about right now are players not paying attention to where their teammates are, and suddenly they wander off too far without realizing it. Do you know why, in nature, a pride of lions will bring down lone young animals that have been separated from the rest of their herd? Because that shit is easy. If you're caught off guard by multiple guardians while very far away from your own team, you are gonna get mollywopped. It's an easy kill for them and a dumb mistake for you. Only wander off if you have both a plan and an escape route in mind. On that note, you should constantly be on the lookout for lone enemies that have clearly wandered off from their own group. If you find one, call it out to your team, quickly collapse on the bastard together, and kill him. Rule number 3, know your angles and know your cover. Finding a new angle is another way of saying finding a new direction to attack your enemy from if they happen to not be paying attention, or if the way that your team is currently attacking them from just isn't working. With that in mind, when playing with your team, you should be aware of what angles the enemy might try to use to attack you. Always be aware of your angles. Here's a great example. Countdown on Eternity. We armed the bomb. Now the enemy has to come in and disarm. So for this particular moment, I was playing defensively, and I'm right over here, checking this lane. Now in theory, if an enemy were to come and approach me from this lane, off screen to the right, I would get picked off quickly. But I'm aware of this angle, and I'm using nearby cover to protect myself from getting picked off by a would-be flanker. If I were standing much further back, I'd be exposed, but not right here. Know your angles and know your cover. Rule number 4, play your advantage. What the hell does that even mean? Good question. Trials can be one of two game types, at the moment anyway, countdown or survival. In both of these game types, you can, and will, find yourself in moments of being at an advantage or being at a disadvantage. Example, you're playing countdown and your team is on offense. You go in, arm the bomb, and kill 2 enemies in the process. Now it's a 4v2 and the bomb has been armed for, let's say, about 10 seconds. You could go off and hunt down the other 2 guardians, but you don't really have to. You've armed the bomb, and as long as you defend it, you'll win the round. It is the other team's job now. It's their burden to come to you. So, play your advantage. I'm not saying you'll fail if you decide to go out and hunt them down, but there is a chance that you could needlessly fail. So, why push them when they literally have to come to you? The same goes for survival. If the round ends without one team dying completely, then the team with more lives will win. So let's say you're playing against a team and there's about 10 seconds left on the clock. Your team is barely ahead in the life count. Why would you continue to push in? They're the ones who are going to get Cinderellaed when the clock strikes midnight, not you. Don't give them a free win. Play your advantage. Rule number 5, the pace of the game is determined by the dead. This kind of ties in pretty well with play your advantage. The pace of trials can go from relatively slow 1 minute to really quick the next. The pace is very easily set by the number of dead players on the field. At the start of the game, when things are 4v4, the pace can sometimes be really slow and relatively tense. As I said before, getting killed can put your team at a big disadvantage, so you don't want to go and get killed and put your team down. Later in the game though, things can change. Let's say you're playing countdown, you're on defense, and the enemy team has planted the bomb across the map. But while they were doing that, your team gunned down 3 of them in the process. It's now 4 versus 1, and there's no reason to play passively here. You just swarm in, use your overwhelming numbers to smother the lone enemy, and shut off the bomb. The odds of them getting a magic 1v4 team kill are low. Not impossible, of course, but low. The pace of the game is determined by the dead. The more living players there are on the field, the slower things can be, but the fewer living players there are, the quicker and more aggressive things can get. Be aware of that. Rule number 6, expect the meta. This one is sort of self-explanatory, yet I find myself needing to say it. People are going to be playing trials to win. Generally speaking, if you're fighting against anyone using a bad gun, they're either making a silly video for YouTube views or they just don't know any better. The teams you're going to have to worry about beating are going to be using good, effective weapons. Whatever is easy to get kills with and whatever kills quickly. Don't expect anything else. As of the recording of this very video, the Mida multi-tool is currently hella strong and currently hella overused in trials. You should be expecting teams to use this gun, or whatever gun is currently strong in whatever meta it is, whenever it is that you're watching this video. In turn, you can use whatever you want. I know some people are comfortable playing the meta, and some people aren't. Feel free to use whatever you like trying to win, but expect other people to use what's effective against you. If you lose to a team all using a really good gun and you complain about their choice of using a really good gun, my question to you is, what the f*** did you expect? They are trying to win, same as you. Expect the meta. You should be going into every game, if you're trying to get your first flawless, fully expecting every team to abuse the current best weapons, the best loadouts, whatever those might be, every time. And rule number 7, communicate. Of course, what would a list of trials rules be without a communication rule? Go ahead, watch every successful PvP playing team on Twitch, every team that competes in tournaments or performs well at high level. What do they all have in common? Communication. I carry people in trials all the time on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch. And I hear this from them all the time. I don't think I'm very good. I'm not sure if I'll be able to help out that much. Well, can you talk? Yeah? Well, great. That means that you can help. Talking is so important in team synergy. There's so much free information that you can relay. Are the enemies there? Are they not? Are they full health? Are they weak? Are they about to die? Are they waiting for me? Or are they not paying attention? Are they advancing? Are they retreating? Are they distracted? Are they reloading? Are they covering all their angles? Are they covering only one angle? Are they reviving? Are they making a push for the power ammo? Are they forgetting about the power ammo? Are they hovering above the door frame? Are they crouching around the corner? Are they hard scoping the lane? Are they not? Are they baiting? Are they grouped up? Are they alone? So much information that you can relay to your teammates just by opening your mouth. It can and will affect the outcomes of your games. If you're really trying to win, always, and I mean always, be talking. And that's pretty much it. An easy to understand, concise guide to trials for people who are looking for their first ever flawless run. If you enjoyed this guide, do me a solid right now and click like, and of course, gotta sub to the channel if you aren't already. If you don't, I will literally find you. And if you want to go the extra mile, and I know you do, follow me on Twitch, where I also happen to do trials carries pretty regularly on the weekends. Alright, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something. See you next time.